Hi, I'm State Representative Jeremy Munson, and I'm at the Capitol today for the first day of the not-so-special session. We've been meeting every month for 17 months, so at some point this is just no longer special. But it's important to let you know that the 5,000 bills that the House and Senate have been working on the past 5 months cannot be acted on during the special session. Those bills ended at the end of the last session and can't be taken up again until February of next year. During the special session, all new legislation is introduced that's going to be acted on. So today we are introducing the Never Again bill. In this bill, we'll put in place many changes to Chapter 12 law, which is the Emergency Powers Act. Now, unlike other bills that you've heard that wait 30 days for the legislature to positively affirm or get rid of the legislative veto, this bill does something very important. It separates a public health crisis from the real natural disasters, the real emergencies, the short period emergencies like a fire, a flood that impact a specific area of the state, and for which Chapter 12 law was originally written. It keeps in place the ability for the governor to act to a fire, a flood, chemical spill, that kind of stuff, but it only allows the governor to do so for 5 days. After 5 days, instead of having the executive council rubber stamp his emergency, the legislature must positively affirm the emergency for a real natural disaster. And during the 5 days, the governor can't enforce his executive orders as law. He can't fine or jail people. But it's important to know that if there's a public health crisis, another pandemic, that will not be handled under Chapter 12. That will instead be handled under Chapter 144, which is in existence today, and it allows not the governor, but the Commissioner of Health to quarantine individuals, and only through the court of law. So if the Commissioner of Health wants to quarantine or separate an individual or groups of individuals, that they must go to the court to ask permission, and this is where we can have our constitutional argument up front in the court of law. And of course, the court is another branch of government, and the Commissioner of Health, which is in the executive administration, but under the purview of the Minnesota Senate, right? They can fire commissioners if they don't like what they're doing. So so Chapter 144 includes all three branches of government: the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch, and is an appropriate use of emergency powers for handling public health. So that's what makes this bill so unique. We've been working on so many changes to Chapter 12 over the past year, and we put together the best of everything that we've been working on and how to control this and how to make a constitutional and appropriate change to Chapter 12 and to reaffirm the Chapter 144 provision. So this bill is actually titled the Never Again bill. It was introduced by Cal Barr, and we're going to have many co-authors to this bill, and we hope to get a hearing and to push this forward. So thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to answering your questions. You can also email me at rep.jeremy.munson@house.mn. We need to prevent the governor from abusing his powers, but we need to do so in a way that protects the ability to quickly respond to an actual natural disaster emergency, a fire or flood. It's also important to know that in our state constitution, we require that the legislature meet in the seat of government, which is here in St. Paul. It's not in some Zoom world. And we don't want to codify or put into law the ability to have these remote legislating, this lazy form of legislating to just dial it in. We need to make sure that the legislature is involved, but we also need to understand that the governor needs to be able to react immediately and not have an emergency, a real emergency for a fire or a flood, held up for political reasons by a legislature, requiring them to act before the governor can do anything. So I look forward to your questions and comments. Thank you again. This is Representative Jeremy Munson from the Capitol here in the special session.